PQ here, PQ Speed Shop. Welcome back. Let's see what we can get into today. So let me show you what I got going on here. So I took the hood and fenders back off and I did get the gaps good, but the fender on this side is still, it can move that way a little bit more. So I took the old piece, measured it, went back to my book, looked at my measurements in my book, and everything measures good, like back and across. And I get up here and I notice on this side, if you look at where this piece ends, right here, and it has this tab on there, that's part of this inner structure here. So I'm looking at how this sticks out here. It's maybe 1/8 of an inch or so. Then I go over to this side and it's flush. And if you want to say, I'd like to move this 1/4 inch this way, which is the difference between those two marks right there. It's minuscule. Or moving this inner fender here over that little tiny bit. So I'm thinking about how I could do this, because that side's good. I don't want to mess with that side at all. This piece is kind of where it's at. It's not going to change. I'm trying to remember, I can't remember if that's an AMD part or not, or OER. Anyways, I thought about knocking off the top, the stock part, because it's got the serial number in it, and putting it on here. The only issue is that one's really bent up and it's got rust on it, and it's an issue. I may just save that piece and leave it with the new one. But in any case, I'm trying to think about how I can attack this. And one of the ways I'm thinking about doing it is essentially taking this inner panel and splitting it on the radiator support. Just kind of splitting it up the side here. Take these two spot welds out here, pull it over, tack it back down 1/4 inch over, and then just re-welding it here. I think anybody's going to see that on the inside there. So that's what I'm thinking about right now, is as I'm cleaning up and getting ready to start welding the inner fenders, thinking about how to get this right, because everything else, all the rest of the measurements are perfect, and the fender fits perfect and has plenty of back and forth, except up here. It kind of slammed all the way to the right. If I'm looking at the front, if I'm looking this way to the left, slammed all the way this way with the fender, and that's what gives me that 1/8 of an inch gap. But there's no wiggle room, and I like a little bit of wiggle room. I don't want it to be that tight over here. I want to be able to adjust it back and forth if I need to, and to be comfortable with that. You know, once it's welded, it's in there. You know, and I'll get a little bit more play this way, I think, once I, you know, weld everything solid, because right now it's just sheet metal screwed in, so it's not flush. If I start back here and work my way forward, and then, you know, I thought, well, you know, I could split it up here and bump it over a little bit that way as well. The only problem is, if I do that, I'm kind of bending this piece, and I don't want to bend this piece. I just want to move it over. I think the entire issue is with this radiator support. Like I said, I can't remember if this is an AMD part or not. I have to go back and look at my receipts to see if this is an AMD part. But I've had to source other parts from other places depending on what was available. I honestly think it is an AMD part, but if that's the case, then it just goes to show that all the manufacturers have some kind of, you know, fabrication issues that you're going to need to deal with in order to get it to fit right and work for your vehicle. These things don't come just weld them in and go. I wish, but that's not the case. They're good, but they're not perfect. And as far as this goes, you know, it could be the bend here, could be a little off, which would throw this off. It could be that. You know, I could put a piece of wood on here and kind of bang this, but I don't need to change back here. It's just up in this tip it needs to go over just a hair. A quarter of an inch, if that, 1/8 to a quarter inch. I'm going to guess that's a quarter inch. This a little bit less than a quarter inch. But I'm thinking that you're not going to see any stuff that's going to be behind the grill. So if I put a split right there, just bumped it over a little bit, you know, tack weld it back once I get the quarter inch in there. I should be able to weld it up without needing a patch in there. Should go right back together. The other issue is what am I going to get in there with? Because my grinding wheel is not, still has the guard on, but even if I take the guard off, I don't think this is going to fit in there. Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna. I mean, I guess it could. Yeah, that's. I don't know. You know, or maybe I cut it along where the inner fender is. I mean, you can see that the inner fender itself, and these things were made to play. It's not even all the way around, but I don't think that matters. It's the outside measurement. You know, and the shock towers are correct. Double check the angle and the measurement across. That's all right. It's just this here I need to bump over 1/4 of an inch. Lousy 1/4 of an inch. I just think that's the best way to hide a weld, is over here. You know, I'll clean it up and everything, but you won't see that unless you're looking for it. Thinking out loud. Thinking out loud. I mean, it's work I didn't want to have to do, but for a lousy 1/4 of an inch. But I just want to feel safe when I, you know, when I put the fenders back on. I don't want there to be an issue. And if I do it now and take care of it now, that'll ensure that it's good at the end. But it just seems weird to me that this little tab piece is flush on this side, but on this side it's not. And the difference is half of what I need to move over. And like I said, this side's good. I don't need to touch this side at all. This side is good. Oh man. Does that look a little rounded? Maybe. But see, that's not going to make a difference there. That's, you know, even if I bang this over a little bit, it's not going to change this. So I need to come up with a plan here that I can change this. Well, let me come up with a plan and I'll be back. All right, let me show you what I got here. So I was able to screw out tap out these 2 spot welds. I'll show you what I was able to do. Tap out these 2 spot welds, and then I used the jigsaw. I started jigsawing up, but then when I got to this brace, I had to use another tool to kind of split the rest of this. So now this is separate. Okay, I took my measurements there, so I know I can get this part back to where it's supposed to be. Now the whole deal is to move this, if you can see this, move this over to there. So now that that's not connected, I should be able to bump this over. So let me go ahead and get it all clamped up so I can show you before I start welding. All right, so we got some sheet metal screws in there. And I didn't tell you this earlier, but the measurement across right in front of the radiator support, 52 inches to that little tab to tab. So we're spot on. Right there at 50, oops, right there at 52 inches, thereabouts, okay? And then, and that was taken off of this one down here. Let me get this on here. Just shy of 52 inches. So we have 52 inches here, or just shy of 52 inches. Same. And up here, I measured from this little doohickey up here in the corner. I measured from this little doohickey up here, my magnetic. Get it? Hold on. Okay, measured from up there to the front. And we're right back down to 41 inches. Oops, hold on. Let me get that. All right, so let me get this. We're in the same spot that we measured last time, which is right on this corner piece there. There we go. Oh, damn. Measure from the same spot we had last time, which is up on this corner. That. And we're sitting right there, 41 inches. I got to push it in a little bit. We're close. We're close. There we go. 41 inches. Thereabouts. Oh, gosh. Now what I'll do is I'll hold that in. All right, that's 41 inches. So we're good. 41 inches. Good. So this I can tack in once I get it sanded down. And this portion down here where it's split apart, I can just push together, put a couple tacks in there on the way down. And the only spot that I have to fill will be up top here where the 1/4 inch difference was. And I got a little bit of a jag because I couldn't get the jigsaw behind it. But just showing you, this must be AMD panel, because you can see the E-coat's not just underneath, but it's like where I moved it. Still has a little bit of bare metal there, a little bit right there, but still not bad. We'll go ahead and got a spot blast and sand blaster. I'll spot that, blast it, tack it down, and then we'll tack it all the way up. And that will give us the extra 1/4 inch we needed on this front bolt here. Not even a 1/4 inch, because by the time you move back it'll be less, but I wanted to give it a little bit more. Yeah. Like a little bit over 51 1/16 to the edge. So that's good. All right. And let's go ahead and get this done. try to squeeze under this freaking shit. When I was younger, skinnier, it would be much easier. Oh gosh. I'm gonna get stuck here, I know. I'm gonna get stuck right here. Shoot, he's out of here. Woo! Hopefully I don't need to jump out of here anytime real quicker. It ain't happening. So now we got all this done, and it's a really great feeling. You know, I was thinking about when I was welding, all the inner structure and the sheet metal being done, you know, where that puts us. That puts us like a standard, what used to be back in the 80s, a standard restoration, which was, you know, fenders, doors, quarter panels, such and such and so on. We're finally going to be at that point where it's going to be outer sheet metal and all this inner structure done. The feeling is just so amazing. There's the old saying, built, not bought. And I know some folks, they got the money, but there's a special kind of satisfaction you get when you do it with your own hands that when you buy it, you'll never have. Plus, when you buy something, you're buying somebody else's idea and concept, and maybe, you know, I haven't seen any vehicles that I like that fit I have to do it myself. But thank you so much for riding along with this. I'm truly getting excited. You know, I have to put it on the rotisserie yet when we get to that point and do the bottom, because I want to do the Raptor liner on the bottom and do all the seam sealing and make sure everything's right. So, you know, I'm feeling really, really stoked right now. And I hope you are doing well on your projects. And, you know, just keep plugging away. You know, one day closer, one part closer is another day closer to being done. And, you know, even if they're not ever 100% finished, the point of taking it from a rusted rot bucket not running to getting it running and getting it look beautiful again, that's a satisfaction for me. Some guys are into engine work. See how fast they can make things go and getting them running. And although I've done mechanic work, you know, this is what really gets to me, taking something ugly and make it look beautiful. And take something that nobody would have ever wanted to touch. And had it been, I don't know, if it hadn't had the sentimental value to me that this one has, I might not have wanted to touch it either. I don't honestly think about it. I know 72, 3.4 Challengers aren't the most desirable, but they're coming up. They're coming around. There's one at Barrett Jackson. I think it sold for like $139,000. It was a resto mod with a Gen 3 Hemi in it. Real nice Challenger. But what we're doing here is my project, and hopefully you follow along and be able to do your project. And I give you some type of motivation like others have given me, and other YouTube channels have given me the motivation to tackle this. And even if you have to get frustrated with it and step away for a minute, that's okay, as long as you come back and start over, start again. Some days are going to be terrible. You're going to want to sell it, get rid of it, be done with it. Other days you're going to get things accomplished, and it's going to put a fire under you and get you really excited about what you're doing. This is one of these days. This is one of those days that I'm really getting fired up about where we're at and how far we've come. And it's making me feel really positive about this project. I'm so glad that I'm videotaping it so I have it for posterity, not just for me, but the next person who gets the car. You know, when I'm gone, they'll be able to go back and see everything that did to this thing. Anyways, enough rambling. I seem to do a ton of that, and I'm sure y'all are sick of it, but I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're following along. And I hope that your projects are just as successful as this one, and even more. And I want to thank you. We'll see you next time. And take care. Peace.